Hello. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Convenience, moving back to the courtroom, but they're having district court down there today. And maybe it won't last long. I see a few of y'all standing up, and so I appreciate y'all coming. We're gonna start off with an invocation by Brother John Forkberry.
Bow with me as I pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, the bright sunshine, the cooler weather. Dear Lord, we thank you for our country, our state, our county, each one of our communities. Dear Lord, we thank you that we can meet together, we can pray. Dear Lord, as this meeting goes on, we pray for your wisdom from above. Help us make decisions that are in accordance to your will. And dear Lord, we just thank you for men, women that are willing to serve the community, willing to be a sacrifice their time, be a part of the community to make it better. Now bless us, and we pray these things, not to a dead God, but to a risen God.
Come on.
In some of the name of the risen Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Nothing quite like a good Baptist prayer.
Okay, I'm gonna call a meeting to order. We do have a quorum here this morning, acknowledging the guests is here today. Appreciate y'all coming. And we open it up for public hearing. Mr. Kelly, you have put in a request.
Yes, sir.
So do you want to speak on item number 3?
I'd like to see how the discussion goes. If you don't mind, Judge?
Thank you. All right. Hearing no more, I'll be closing the public hearing. Number 1 is consent item agenda, and we've got a few that's missing in there in our packet, so we won't be approving those.
I make a motion, let's move on. Get out of here.
Second. Motion been made by Mr. Palmer, and second, Mr. White. We approve the consent agenda. There's no discussion on the consent agenda, so those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Hearing none passed. Number 2 is deliberate and consider action on the following items. And the first one is the presentation of the Newton Food Share Strategy 3-year plan. That's Brother Joe.
Thank you, Judge. I got to clear 2 things ahead of time. One, I'm chewing gum. It's not disrespect.
I have one effect from long COVID. My throat dries out and my voice quits working, which might be a blessing, depending. Anyway, so I'm chewing gum and I had to come, no, I don't always look like this. Let's just say I fell and hit my chin. And that's the end of the story. So this will be going away. Every year, usually around February, I think it went till March this year, I give a presentation on Newton Food Share and what we've done. How much money has come in, how much money is left. We give a balance sheet. We give pounds, which an X number, 100,000 of pounds of food, how many people, a lot of different data that we want to be transparent, let people know what we're doing. This year, I want to talk about the future a little bit. And during this year, with the help of the Temple organization, we've gone through a reorganization. We started out 18 years ago and it was pretty simplistic. Nobody was completely really in charge by election or anything. We just did it. And so we have structured a board of directors, and part of that is a succession plan. And I want to introduce some of the board members who are here. First, I want to introduce to you, though, Susan Harple, who's the new executive director. And when she got that job, she got her salary doubled. Okay, and I want to be sure to make that clear. Nobody in our organization gets paid. Nobody. Doesn't cost the county any money in salary, none. So 00 is
Zero.
zero. Very good. Conley Todd is on the board of directors. Christy Staley, who's, raise your hand, Christy, is the vice chair. I'm chairman now. And we have a wonderful board, some who couldn't be here, but Mr. Bean is here, Thomas Hawthorne. And we also have Gina, who has a real job, Miss Gina Brookshire. Michelle had other things happening as well. And Eddie Hopkins couldn't make it. So they are very active board members, and we have a strong board. And they're actually doing a pretty good job of keeping me in line. And so I want to salute them on that. Did you give it to me already? I already lost. Oh, it's in your pocket. In my pocket. Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Shannon went to the effort of setting this all up, and it was kind of exciting because he had it all set up in the district courtroom. So that's just the way things go in this Newton County, and things like that happen. No big deal. So I'm going to talk about Newton Food Share Strategic 3-year plan. By the way, it's okay with me if you interrupt the questions. Okay? Or at the end. I don't care. I'll be glad to answer. Transparency. All right, we're going to talk about vision and sustainability for the future. And where do we want to be in 3 years? This started out as a 5-year plan. And I decided I probably might not even make it 5 years. So, and how do you know what's going to, but anyway, it's 3 years. What is the progression to get there? What will we be like? Will we be the same? Will we be lesser? Will we be stronger? Will we be doing more? What resource we need? And what do we need from the Commissioners Court now and in the future? Pointing it the wrong way.
There we go.
There you go. Newton Food Share. We want to meet more needs than just groceries. Right now, we do a great job on groceries. We would even be doing probably another 150,000 pounds if we could get them. Short term, we're short, as is everything. And inflation's up. I don't have to tell you, if you go to the grocery store, you see empty shelves. Food pantry transition to a resource center ministry. And I use that word unapologetically. Need services to be added. We call it ministry, but that would be casework and referral. You know, there are people who can't pay their utility bills, who can't, I say, am I going to buy my meds or am I going to buy food? And that's Newton County. I don't have to tell you all that. We are poverty-stricken area, and the state of Texas knows that. So utility bills, rent, medicines, and meals. We do not do meals. And going to meals is a big job. But everybody should be able to have a hot meal every now and then, and enough groceries to take home and eat. And that's our intent. So I have found a model of what we need to become. Now, it's been in my head for a long time, but I actually visited a place. It happens to be in Livingston. Now, we're not going to become Ministry of Hope in Livingston, but I see them as a good model because it fulfills a lot of things that we need to be doing that we're not doing. By the way, they're a nonprofit also. So it's a center of hope. They do what's called client choice. It's like a grocery store. Instead of saying, here's your bag of groceries, have a good day and God bless you. And we do that, by the way. But it's like, okay, you come in, you get a shopping cart and it's prearranged how many things you get and off of which shelves and everything. I got some pictures to show you. It's awesome. It is awesome. They talk to everybody every time. They see themselves as a ministry. We use quick passes and that's not going to change quickly. So the people can come in, drive through, get their food and they're gone. They don't do that because they want to talk. One of the guys who's running that is a retired 2-star general. I can't help but saying that, being former military, I was impressed. But this guy hauls groceries around the shelves, carries groceries out, but is always there to talk to people. A lot of people come in, they just need to tell their story. Now should happen at church, and I'll pray that it would. But in some cases, not everybody goes there. Should, but that's another story. They have a steady streams of financial support. I do financial support, and I chase around a lot, and in a lot of ours, gathering a few dollars here, a few dollars there. Try to gather most of it outside of Newton County. That's the predominant part, because, hey, we're a poor county. If I bring money in to help feed people, we bring money in. That's a benefit to everybody, not just those who are hungry. We do about 600 families. They do about 600 families a month, which is pretty good. They open every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. It's a big difference in us. We open twice a month, but they're only open for a few hours and it's very relaxed. They're not in a hurry to get people through. They're touching souls and hearts as well as helping. They provide vouchers for meds, clothing, and they have offices for all of those activities. They go get people rather than deliver meals. I thought this was in. I said, do you do meals? Carry them out, because we have an organization here that does that, and they've been doing it for a long time, and it's a big benefit. Just difference in philosophy. They say we want them to come in, so they got a grant, got a minibus. They go pick people up 8 times a month. I just think it's interesting. They have an intake system that's really casework or ministry, depending on which term you prefer. This is where they're at. Anybody's taking the loop around Livingston to get to 59 going south, you've gone past this. It's on the right, and it's an old Brookshire's. So they got a lot of room. It's supposed to be a video. I don't think it's going to open. It hasn't in the past as well. I have an old version of PowerPoint. Anyway, I'll show you the still pictures. This is a room where people come in, they register first. They have a reception desk. Then they go to one of these rooms, as they're called. They have a place for them all to sit, nice and comfortable. They go in and they get interviewed as to, okay, what's happening in your life? What do you need? They pull out the folder of all their paperwork and go through it with them and say, okay, you need this, and you need this. They give them a sheet that's got that on there that they carry forward from here. And this room is probably even smaller than it looks. It's only like, it might be 10 by 12, but I doubt it's that big. This is the grocery store operation. You notice the carts? If I remember right, they're from Brookshire. So, but this is just the beginning. I tried not to get pictures of the clients. I have always avoided that in our place. I don't want to embarrass anybody. We're not in the embarrassment business. We're in the helping business. And So I did catch a few, but most of these that you see and you're gonna see are volunteers. Somebody that comes in and it's ready to shop, they have to have somebody goes around with them and helps them, gets things off the shelf, puts it in their cart. And it's just, it's very, very ministry based, which is to me hard to argue with. I think we are, but they have a different pastor come ever, kind of like Commissioner's Court. We do a prayer. They do a prayer. It's a different minister every time they're open. And they have 14 churches supporting them. Down their board of directors and money. This is some of the volunteers. You can see the grocery. I don't know, everybody can see, but there's a grocery shelves that they got. And there, unfortunately, I caught one client, but you can't see who she is. And there's the volunteer back helping her get her groceries together. And you can barely see the cart behind them. So they go through the aisle. It's just like going to Brookshire. The only thing is there's no prices on the shelf. And that, I think it's what I'm impressed by is the actual shopping part. It's not that huge. They always have fresh bread. They spend $5,000 a month beyond the Southeast Texas Food Bank buying groceries at retail. Like I said, we're not gonna beat them, but I love what they're doing, and it'd be foolish to ignore it, I think. And this is their produce, and they have fresh eggs. So you get bread and eggs when you come, and we now have produce, and they have their produce right here. There's produce boxes that can be seen that's just like we do. There's some more of the shelving. I thought this was interesting, but it's the same oatmeal that we buy from Brookshire's. This is their walk-in freezer. Now, they also have a 40-foot outside reefer like we do for other food pantries. It's pretty much very similar, but you can look and see they have a lot of room around here. This is the inside. It's bigger than ours, but not usually. And you can see it's not really full. It's kind of like where we're at right now. This is their warehousing area. You see the pallet jacks and the pallets of groceries and everything. So what happens is the food comes from here and goes on those shelves. There's no packing. It's not packed ahead of time and just here's your bag and here's what you get. Not that that's bad, because we've been doing that for 18 years, and I think we have fulfilled a lot of what we need to do. People get groceries and meat and lately a lot of produce. I like doing produce because it's nutritious. We have a nutritional problem in this area, in spite of the works of Kathy Pearson, who's going to be teaching cooking and down the road, I hope, and teach people. You know, you don't just go to McDonald's. I'm picking on McDonald's. You don't just go to McDonald's and get a hamburger and fries. You can make something nutritious, and here's the food to do it with. Now, this is the office of one of the caseworker type ministry, where the person saying they need medicine. So this would be like the meds office. What do you need? How much? Go through it with them. Here's a voucher to go to wherever they got. We would make a deal with Brookshire's Pharmacy and say, you know, go and get it. You can get it there. Of course, now I hear the dollar signs in your head. I do too. Very, very much. That's the background I had before ministry. Well, not just before ministry. It matters in ministry too. The tithes don't come in. Programs get cut. Newton Shire, here's where we're at. We're serving 600 to 800 people a month, and that's about 300 families. But we're a little less than half their size. And I was surprised. I thought they'd be 10 times bigger. I mean, it is Livingston. But this year, we're going to do about 350,000 pounds of food. We would be at $500,000 if we could get the food. We have a drive-through system that works extremely well. We're a hub for other pantries. Currently, Von Weir and Burfield. And real proud of those two organizations because if there's areas that need a food pantry, that's two of them. We're financially solvent. I do give the first year reports to the court. And we get most of our food, the organization, the big art is Feeding America. We probably get things from people all down, please send us money. And they're all, most of them are probably pretty good. I know Feeding America is because they have large food banks all over the country. And ours is in Beaumont, Southeast Texas Food Bank. And they're our major supplier and good people. And they also audit us for compliance with USDA government regulation, which we have to meet and requires various and sundry things. And we have a team of people led by Susan, has for a long time, that do this as part of our lineup. We have bought additional food from Brookshire's this year. It was actually more than 7,900 because while I was gone, you got 500 pounds of chicken or whatever that would be from Brookshire's. And thank Gina when you see her because she is so easy to work with. And the butcher there, Billy, sells us the meat at his cost. Although his cost is skyrocketed. Which doesn't surprise me. I mean, try to go and buy a steak now, or even a chicken, anything. It's just, and it bothers me a lot because there are people who can't handle it. They couldn't handle it before inflation, and they just can't handle it now. Thank you, Newton County. I'd give you a round of applause, but it's only me, so I'm going to ask everybody else to join in. This is what's been happening. We've had free rent for 18 years. Now, everybody has that. Jasper Share, which is another Cracker Jack organization, they pay their rent and utilities. We don't. We got free insurance coverage, liability. This is not a kind of place that sues people, but we did get scared once about 8 years ago, a lady fell and that was the end of that. Nothing happened, but you need coverage and we don't have to pay for that. We would not really be anywhere without Newton County Commissioners Court. So I'm sucking up to you for what I'm going to ask you. Does that make sense? That was from a previous life, pre-pastor. You have enabled us to grow and serve. We are doing so much better. This started, actually, Kathy, my wife, and Charlotte Meyer started this way back. She was in the extension office. And Kathy would go there and take a book to read because nothing happened. It was slow, and it's slow and slow. And I've got all the data going back to 2004. And we have grown by leaps and bounds, but over a period of just slow progression. During COVID, we had a lot of business. What about the future? We would like to take advantage of the offer to move to the new airport facility. So we have, and by the way, this extends to everybody in here and everybody you know. One, if somebody needs food, send them to us. We will give them food. We'll take care of it. They need it. There are qualifications, but for Newton County, I sometimes think at least half the people would qualify. The other thing is, come and see. Come and see what's happening. We love to have somebody come by. The sheriff has come by, the judge, the commissioners have been by. Come out and see what we're doing. We're open this Thursday, 10 to noon and 1 to 3. Ronnie's been by. So come on back. Just I promise, well, I won't promise. I probably won't put you to work, but then I might. So come, but because there's a lot, it's a very physical job. We're open this Thursday, and like I said, come on to see what we're doing. And you'll see why we need a new facility. It's particularly if we're going to do above and beyond of what we're doing now, which I am concerned that we need to do. 3 years from now, we still want to be in operation. That's not a given. We have the best bunch of volunteers you can imagine. I'm going to a series of courses out at Temple, and there's all these other people at other organizations. All they do is whine about the help they got. Paid and volunteer. Can't get them to do anything. They don't show up. And I'm thinking, I don't understand. I think I got them all ticked off. I said, I don't know what y'all are talking about. That I can not be there and everything runs, may probably runs better. But,
Yeah.
We got an amen on that one.
is that from our farm?
We got an amen on that.
Director?
Hmm.
I believe the old adage is get the best people you can that are around you, that are a lot smarter than you, a lot harder working, and a lot more dependable. And that's who I got. We are meeting grocery needs. We still want to do that. We'd like to provide a hot lunch for community and maybe beyond lunch, but even doing, when I say community, we have a good organizations run by the senior center. There are people in there for years. Sandy does a great job. I'm very pleased personally and organizationally at what they do. But it's for seniors, old codgers like me and Wesley. We can go there, although it's all the way from Deweyville. I don't know if it's, but anyway, it's a great thing. They also take lunches to the community. Well, and those are people who are homebound. Well, are there other hungry people? You know, we started when we started 18 years ago, our biggest percentage were seniors, old farts like me, old codgers like me. And that was our biggest demographic. Well, our biggest demographic now is the middle group. It's not, and all of them have kids. So a lot of kids would be nice to have a lunch for them too. Cooking and nutrition classes. So it's beyond the fact that here's your we've on occasion we haven't had lately, but pork loin. Well, how do you cook a pork loin? Believe it or not, in today's environment we're in, there people do not know that. They know where McDonald's is. So it's a hand up, it's a help up, not just a handout. We want to provide weekend food for all 3 school campuses. We now do that for the elementary school. They got a backpack. They got some kid-free, type food, little cans you pop open packages, little thing of milk, little thing of juice. And so they have something. There are hungry kids in the other schools. I see a voucher program for medications and clothes. And basic utility payments are partial payments. I did this for years with Salvation Army. They're not here anymore. But it's not that hard to do. It's just a matter of having a resource. People sit down and talk. What do you really need? Government assistance, SNAP. We had a government assistance office years ago when I first came. You could go and get SNAP or disability or whatever, and you have somebody talk to you. They're gone. As with many things in Newton County, people have left us. So basically it becomes a resource center or a ministry center, depending on what you want to call it. We want to provide, this is our charter, we want to provide groceries for each family that is qualified. Healthy, nutritious, fresh produce, ample protein. That's why we buy meat from the butcher at Brookshire's. And a grocery store model, or as the food bank calls it, the official term is client choice. I wouldn't be surprised if in some cases, some people have a pantry full of beans, because that's what we've had and that's what they get every time. And they don't have something they really need. That's the important part. Transport clients and lunch guests to the Newton Food Share. That's a question mark. I don't know. I think right now, the model of carrying food to people makes a lot of sense. We're doing it, not we, but the senior center makes a lot of sense. They're getting food. All they gotta do is pop it in the microwave and they got something to eat. But I can't turn my back on what they're doing because it's pretty awesome. what's needed to get there, about 4,000 square foot of space, some loading docks, loading dock singular. About half of this would be for warehouse and then shelving for grocery store. 3 small offices for intake. Now that can just be a partition, but there needs to be privacy. An office for the CEO, records, phone, fax, router, et cetera. Most of which we do not have now, but thanks to the extension office, we have a contact where somebody can fax something in or whatever, but we don't even have a phone line. 1 office for further assistance. You go there for your vouchers for whatever. We'd have to move our 10 by 12 freezer and move the 40-foot long reefer. And we have a new generator. And we probably need a pallet jack capable of stacking pallets. We don't have that now, so we could handle more food with less room. I will also add that in all these things, like the freezer we have, the reefer, the generator, that was all paid for with grant money. So the county was a super help, so was the city in getting it done from project perspective. But it's my intent to, there's money out there. It's just a matter of working to get it. Major structural changes. Some staff will eventually be paid. That's gonna happen. Grocery store will require more open time and operate differently. We won't be able to just have 2 days a month because we are fast. We can do 180 families in a day. We're dead afterwards, but we can do 180. Kitchen staff probably, steady stream of funds. We really don't have a budget, but we're in great shape financially, but just whatever comes in is what we spend. So we need to be a little more formal, a budget. We're gonna have payroll benefits, et cetera, for a few people. And that's not gonna happen overnight. Right now, the money's not there. So conceivable progression is design the Newton Food Share Resource Center, along with the airport project, obtain sustainable funding. That's a big item. Initiate a backpack program at all campuses, and I don't see why we can't do that now. It's a matter of the resolve of the whole community being behind it. Why should a kid go home on Friday afternoon and there's nothing to eat at the house? And that is not unusual. Y'all know that, don't you? Especially you have taught or been in the schools, you know, that's life in Newton County. So begin a voucher program for utilities, prepare a floor plan for our grocery store, offices, et cetera, and eventually go to client choice. And eventually begin a lunch and nutrition program. That is not going to be instantaneous. And I see that as a opportunity as well as a hurdle to get through. And this is why I'm not only telling commissioners, I'm glad this will be available on the website, because the whole community is going to need to be behind this. I don't mean I'm going to pick your pocket. It just means that moral support. Yep, this is the right thing to do. It's worth it. We need that program. It does a good thing. It can do even better, and we want to do it. A request. See, I told you. We accept the offer to move to the airport and would like to formalize that, whatever that means. We sure could use a cash flow assistance in addition to the in-kind support we now receive. In-kind, we got, I told you all the things we have, and I know the county's not rolling in money, but it would be something which the commissioner's support would consider. A lot of organizations like ours, they do get some cash support from local governments and requesting. Others do it. I know the difficulties, but I'd like it to be considered. The end. Any questions? Come on, there got to be some questions. Did I put you to sleep? Is that the problem? Huh? Anybody pay attention? Paid attention, raise your hand. I didn't think you did.
Yeah, I have questions.
Sure.
So the campuses, you said 3 campuses you're talking about.
just the Newton School District, or are you talking about Deweyville and Burkeville as well?
Right now, I'm talking about Newton. The others, it would, actually, my personal opinion is that Burkeville will get to the extent where that can happen. That food operation has come along really, really well. So that could be something they would do. I know that Deweyville area has some churches and organizations do some food. It would be really nice, my opinion, if they hooked up with Feeding America, just like we are, and they could, something that could happen at Deweyville schools as well. I don't see why not. I mean, the money, kids are not going to learn if they're hungry. I don't care how bright they are or otherwise. If their stomach's empty or they haven't slept that night and they go to sleep in their chair, they ain't going to learn. They're not going to learn anything.
So Deweyville has a food bank, but it's going through a lot of challenges right now.
Well,
They're having to fund themselves starting now. So whatever needs to be done to reach out, I know you mentioned Burkeville, I'm not Burkeville, you mentioned.
Burkeville and Von Weir.
What you mentioned, okay.
And Trout Creek is part of the Feeding America as well. And gets food from Southeast Texas Food Bank.
So we need to loop Deweyville food.
Absolutely. Love to help do that. Trout Creek, and then you'd have Deweyville. I don't know, there's need to be one in Belgrade. In between. I don't know. I mean, people do not only price gas high, a lot of our people do not have either. And so Deweyville, yeah, we glad to surface Deweyville and give them food, but that come all the way from Deweyville to get some groceries.
I think that's a little.
So, yeah, I'm with you.
I think Brother Walters does a little bit in Belgrade. Walter Terry.
Is that right?
Walters,
Okay.
they sell like we are.
Louisville operates on fundraisers, private donations, no county assistance, but they do get food from the Texas Food Bank.
They do?
Yes, sir,
Okay. Well,
they do.
I think that's changing though. They're about to have to start paying.
Well, they're gonna have to start.
oh, yeah.
Going to.
They are.
have been getting it. They're-
They have started.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way it works. They help you get started, and they did it in Burkeville.
That's why the
Don Wick.
fundraisers and
And
the private donations.
that like, it's supposed to last 6 months, but they'll give you longer.
So
period of time.
Yeah.
And once you get going, then it's 16 cents a pound.
Yeah. That's.
Sharing.
Doing the box program.
What-
That was doing the box program.
Right. Now they're going to have to start paying, yes. And that's where the, now they're starting fundraisers, private donations.
Good.
Well,
They
you can call
have
Miss,
0 county.
you can call Miss Holly at that call and she
They're
can
doing
help
all.
folks
you know.
for funding and grants.
Yeah, I know Holly.
Yeah, we need to get merged. We don't have two different groups. We have one vision, all of Newton County.
Yeah.
Well, it worked real well with Von Weir and Burkeville, and we were doing, not Belgrade, shoot, no, Track Creek is not, they're still with Southeast Texas, but they're picking up programs. But there is one small operation, in the country that did pick up from us for a while, but
Oh, you talking about Brother Jeff?
no.
No.
How about you,
Jamestown?
Jamestown? Yeah, Ms. Parker, Palmer? Palmer, yes. So there is something going on there. What we'd like to do is grow them all and be able to supply food. Nobody should go hungry. Other question? Okay. How much time did I go over?
I think,
Half hour?
I think that was doing that.
Yeah, about.
By the way, my thanks to Shannon for setting this all up. Thank you, sir.
They've already exceeded it. They have.
Thank you, Brother Joe, and I think it's a well-worked, effort that you're doing for the community, and it's well deserved.
I'll ask too.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Joe.
Now, you are advocates for people that need, always getting asked, I got some people that need, send them to us. And the worry about qualification, it's not a worry. When there, you see those people in line, at least 10 every time we're open, have never been there before. Sometimes 15. And Susan and her team, they're there with the clipboards. And by the way, someday that's going to be an iPad, but that's another story. And they sign them up on the spot. And then you go through the line and get your groceries. And from then on, you're in. So it's easy. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Brother Jim. Number two, discuss and appropriate approve the vote to hire the new ag agent, Michaela Benson. Miss Kathy.
I would like to introduce Sheila Harris, our district extension administrator, to make the presentation.
I didn't know you was gonna be here this morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce our sole candidate, our sole finalist for the Ag and Natural Resource County Extension Agent position, the one that was previously held by Emily Gerngross. So just a little bit about Michaela. This is Michaela Vincent. She holds a bachelor's degree from Tarleton State University in wildlife sustainability and ecosystem sciences, and she has a master's degree from Sul Ross University in natural resource conservation. Michaela grew up and is from Pilot Point, Texas, at the northeast part of Texas. So I present to you Michaela Vincent. If approved today, she will start on November the 1st. For her first month, the state will pay all of her salary and her travel. She'll go to College Station for a new agent orientation, come back and do a first step training in Angelina County, and then start on December the 1st here in Newton County on that day. Any questions?
Are you gonna like Justin coming down to East Texas from North Texas?
It is quite an adjustment.
I know it.
I think it's really good here. That's always a plus.
What's the size of the town or city you from?
Oh, so the town that I'm from is around 5,000 people. It's, like we said, in North Texas, Pilot Point. Do you know where Denton, Texas is? Okay, keep going north of Denton, like maybe 30 minutes, and you'll find the town there.
You got some new ideas for Newton?
We'll see. I got a few ideas.
Well, I'm sure we'll bring you some if you don't have any.
Absolutely. I'm happy to hear anything too.
So we got some exciting 4-H'ers here in Newton County, all the way from north to the south, and we're about 80 miles long. So get some traveling in, I'm sure. So we're looking for some good 4-H'ers coming out of Newton County.
That's good. I was a 4-H kid myself, so I'm there for them.
Yes, ma'am. All right. All right, well, thank you, Ms. Harris and Ms. Kathy. And if we vote you in, we welcome you to Newton County.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, your motion.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I second.
Motion been made by Mr. Palmer and second Mr. Benson that we vote to hire the new ag agent, Michaela Benson, to our county here in Newton County. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Same sign opposed. Here none passed.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioner, appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
y'all.
Number three, discuss and appropriate approve expenditures for ARPA fund not to exceed $100,000 for the necessary update for net data program. And there's two options there. And we're gonna let Mr. Bill Mosier, explain that to us. Is Mr. Mosier here?
This is for sheriff's. The whole county,
Including the down here.
including the sheriff's department. Will it update the sheriff's department?
I'm sure it will. That's what I got to ask.
Get them come back.
Okay, let's move on to, number 4, and we'll come back to it. He stepped out just for a minute. Discuss and appropriate approve, 2023 Newton County resolution for the energy, defense grant program.
I'm glad I was listening. I was waiting for number 3 to get done. This is our indigent defense grant program that we have annually. It supplements anywhere from 15,000 to 23,000 a year from the state on paying our indigent defense attorney. And this is just our just to get the approval from the court, and then I can finish the paperwork and get it turned in.
Do your motion.
I'll make the motion.
That's second. Motion been made, Mr. White, second, Mr. Thompson, will approve the 2023 Newton County resolution for the energy defense grant program. Is there any discussion? Any question? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Carried, none passed. Number 5 is discuss and approve request for Sabine River Authority for various for requirements for floodplain ordinance. Liz.
We've been working with a company called Hydrex Incorporated. They're working with Sabine River Authority. They're doing some expansion and some upgrades to Sam Collins Park. It's going to be in phases, and this variance is for phase 1, which phase 1 is, it's going to include a boat ramp and expansion, 2 associated floating loaded docks. I can't even talk this morning. A courtesy floating dock, parking entry drive sign, event pavilion, and restroom facility. I've been working very closely with them and Sabine River Authority, and Sabine River Authority has requested the variance. And after we have done lots of paperwork, and I've worked with the Texas Water Development Board, and there are the impacts to the floodplain with this development is just going to be like nothing. So they, Texas Water Development Board suggested that Sabine River Authority request the variance. And so that's why I'm here today. And the only part the part in the park with the restrooms and that expansion is not in the floodplain. And I think the Corps of Engineers has been involved with this also.
Yeah, most of this would be considered floating docks and that type of stuff is out in the water now. I don't think when they put the floodplain ordinance, it maybe not addressed that one issue.
Right.
And so that's the reason we brought that to court today. And this would be for Sabine River Authority only. Won't be with nobody else in Newton County. Your motion.
Make the motion. Not gonna cost us.
No, second.
Motion been made, Mr. White, and second, Mr. Thompson will approve the quote request for Sabine River Authority for the variance for requirements for floodplain ordinance. Any discussion? Any questions?
Is that gonna cost us anything? Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Here none passed. Okay, is Mr. Mosier back?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We have, I've stated that you will present the option 1 and option 2 for the net data program update. So if you do that for us, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know if Shannon gave you a packet or not, but your agenda item was written pretty well. You've got 2 options. Your existing server is at end of life, meaning it's no longer to be supported by IBM. And I don't like to make Well, I won't make a recommendation on whether you go with option 1 or 2, and here's why. Option 1 is what's called moving the existing data set, all the images, et cetera, to our private hosted environment. You've heard of the term cloud computing. That's a great financial decision to make. It looks really good on paper. What I don't know, and why I won't make a recommendation, is I don't know how well your network and your internet reliability is. If you have high-speed internet and it's reliable, you definitely go option 1, because you're not having to buy a new server and it costs a lot more money up front to buy the new IBM server, et cetera. If your internet's bad and goes down 4 times a day, then my software is going to go down 4 times a day, and everybody's going to say, oh, that Bill Moser guy said to go with the cloud. Well, the fact that your internet's down doesn't mean my software doesn't work. It means that you don't have access to it. So and Shannon says you guys have done a lot of upgrades in the last period of time to get your internet speed up and to make it much more reliable. He says he's got a few more things they're going to do in the near future to do that as well. My guys back at our corporate office ran some tests, and your speed looks good as far as what you need to have. It needs to be what's called a minimum of 10 meg up and down. You have that speed. I was a little bit worried about the remote JP offices, because in the past, you guys it was really, really bad.
Right.
I mean, to be honest. And so when we even talked about this several years ago of moving it to the cloud, and it was like, no, we're buying a new server, and that's what you did. So, and Shannon will say that he's made a lot of progress to get your speed up and your reliability. If your speed and reliability are good, option 1, way to go. If it's not good, and it's going to go down 5 or 6 times a day, or 4 times a day is even too much, you know. So I didn't bring a PowerPoint presentation or anything to show you the differences, but Shannon's got it. Whoever wrote the agenda item had the numbers dead on right. So I just went with the agenda item. So I'm sorry I can't come and give you a recommendation on what to do. I can just tell you that option 1 is definitely the way to go if you've got reliable internet. And if not, don't go there. You need to go with option 2. Sorry I couldn't be any more enlightenment, but that's just you might ask Shannon what he thinks, but.
What you think, Shannon?
Let's see. They do have it on.
And will this update your sheriff's office too, also? Ain't that where we're having the most, some of our trouble in the sheriff's office? And will it get it out of the cellar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, another system coming in here for our surveillance.
Yes, sir. So that'll be taking care of the physical server that we have downstairs. That'll be moving everything to the cloud. The progress we've made on upgrading the network throughout the county definitely helped get us to this point of moving to the cloud. That was one of the plans, is going to moving us into a modern age. Now we're not, I can't say 100% we're there today. I ran the speed test for us to give you that answer today. I don't have that minimum requirement for a few of the computers. And it's because as of last week, we were changing out equipment, as y'all know, in the courthouse. And we still have just a little bit further to go to get our upgrades, our network switches up. So some of those switches are 15 years old and stuff like that. So once we get that up to par, I mean, our fiber that we dropped here is 150 meg up and down. So that should be more than adequate. We just need to upgrade the rest of that equipment. So the potential is definitely there. But if I had to tell you today, I don't have that speed today. No. In a few weeks, we should have it.
So it could be worse. So it could be worse. So we can put it to the cloud, and in the morning, it could be worse. Our internet service could be worse, like it was before.
Yes, sir.
No.
I don't understand that.
Okay.
How could it be worse?
I think
I'm not
he's
even
saying,
sure if I
I
understand.
think what he's saying is if our internet is bad tomorrow,
Yeah,
then we would have more issues.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
and it could very easily be, right?
Yes, sir. And then another downfall too is unreliableness of the network. once everything is in the cloud, especially for the sheriff department. Right now, if the network goes down, they're tied in locally. They can access the server. They don't have to have internet. JPs and all of those remote offices are different. They have to work basically through the cloud anyway.
Right.
But if the internet goes down here, even for a day, the sheriff office can still do their reports through net data. Once it goes to the cloud, that's it. We'll have to have a secondary backup for internet for them to be 100% online all the time. You understand what I mean? Like internet goes down, no net data. It's the only downfall.
So what
So
you
we
were,
have,
what you were working on last week and then you had to put on hold because of some functionality or
Mhm,
something, that would resolve the net speed, hopefully?
yes,
Okay. So is there a date on when you might get back?
we have the equipment and stuff like that ordered. I don't have a date and set, hopefully in the next week or two.
If you're a couple of weeks away from it, my people aren't coming here to do the migration.
Right.
They're not ready to move it right away anyway. So, you know, that would, even if you said, let's do it this way, I'm gonna get a new set of agreements to Liz, before the end of the week for this particular thing. So you're talking at least a month or so at the earliest before they start to do the migration. So you should be fine on that part.
And one of the main things is, for us to stay in CJIS compliance, once the server reached end of life, we have 6 months to replace our server.
What is the
According-
lifespan on that server?
Say again?
What's the lifespan on the server?
The lifespan, so when was the end of life on that server?
I'm not exactly, is it the end of December? Is this one the end of
So
December?
I'm talking about the new one, so you.
Oh, well, you're not buying, you wouldn't, if you were to go option two and buy a new server.
New server, what would the lifespan?
Well, some people will get 7, 8 years out of them, okay?
Now it's basically 35,000 a year, first year for the cloud. So what is the cost for the second, third, fourth?
I think it was 24. 34.
Now 65.
Okay, is that gonna be the same cost every year or will it increase?
No, it's a 5-year deal, so it's gonna be 20, the first year is, the first year is 34,965, and then it's 24,965 after that.
Shannon, I don't want to go back to where we was 4 years ago with all these offices calling all these commissioners and my internet don't work.
Well, it sounds like we made a bunch of progress in that.
I don't want to go back to where we was 4 years ago.
And technically, according to CJIS policy, it's unsecured where it's at down there, and I've been mentioning that we need to lock that thing down where it's at down there now. Going to the cloud kind of alleviates some of that problem. Because you have maintenance guys going down there.
I get
You
it.
have plumbers, they're not licensed to be around somewhere that has that kind of, that kind of equipment with the data that's on it. I need it locked in a cage, I need it in a locked room, it's locked,
Well, it needs to get out of there,
it needs to get out of there.
period.
There's humidity down there.
Hosting, because then you wouldn't have it at all.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
So what you're saying is if we go to the cloud and the internet's down in Newton, I'm still not gonna be affected, correct? Whereas,
If the internet's down in Newton, you're down anyway, right? Once, the way that you're set up.
like,
Yeah, because you're at a remote office.
I'm set to go through the server here though.
Yes.
But if we went to iCloud, I would just go through net data and have my own standalone internet
Right.
down south.
You wouldn't be,
So I wouldn't be affected by the internet in Newton,
that's
by
correct.
the cloud.
You're right,
Because
yes.
the last time we discussed this, when you come down the last time to do this, when we updated the last server, we were talking about going to that, but our internet here wasn't enough to stand alone to provide for Newton. So
That's a
all the
good point.
offices down in Deweyville would still work without having to depend on Newton's internet. And I'm not saying that's not important, but if their internet was down here, that's how they would remote to Round Rock, right?
Sulphur Springs.
Silver Springs, I'm sorry.
That's a very good point. And this is the most unreliable network, this Windstream network right here in Newton. It's always going down for some, they've been doing some upgrades, their old network cables and lines, but
Because I know we were talking about the cloud to go through, because we've still not updated the icon because of our internet.
What is
speed.
that?
But you're gonna be updated.
We are. I know. Once we
That's
get
part- That's
everything,
part, of- that's part of the first year, more expensive.
So I got AT&T at my office, I'll say.
So that's included.
But it's on a Windstream line though.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Windstream still runs all of this.
Okay,
We just hired AT&T to
take it over.
take it up.
Okay.
Just one more question. You just said that was included in the first year. That's the first year. If we do the iCloud, that's gonna upgrade our
Yes,
icon and
yes,
everything
it
else.
goes to
that was gonna
Icon,
be-
yes.
That was the next point, yes. Because y'all been wanting to meet in the icon,
Because that was,
and that's included with the
Quite a bit.
upgrade.
wow, that's an upgrade on going to that cloud, not the new server.
Right,
Right.
this includes the Icon conversion and the hosting migration is included in the first year.
Okay. Because that's gonna incorporate all of our stuff. That's our collections, I
Everything that
take
you're on
it-
with the old net data stuff, yes,
but it is gonna incorporate with the credit card company as well through Icon, correct?
yes.
So see, we pay separate for certified pay. That's a lot in that. That's why I'm just bringing it to the attention of the court. I think the last time I come, it was like $25,000 for each court to upgrade. Is that correct? And they were gonna
Yeah.
waive that at that time.
Right.
And we didn't move forward on that. So it was $100,000 they were gonna waive and now that's included in that. So,
Right, first year of the 34,000 does include converting you to Icon,
okay.
which Icon is the latest version of our Justice of the Peace Court software. She's on the version that has been around, hasn't really been around for a long time, but we just keep them cooking along, but they needed to go to the Icon for years, but they couldn't because of the internet speed at their location back to here. She's connected by the internet back to the server that's downstairs. But her speed was so bad then, we couldn't convert it to Icon. This will allow her to get converted to the most current version of the JP case management system.
Net data is trying to go away from servers, aren't they?
Oh,
Purchasing new
there are
servers?
very few places that don't go to the cloud. They're situations exactly like I described, where it's gonna cost them $800,000 in order to get their infrastructure put in place in order to go to the cloud. And so they just say, we'll just bite the bullet, spend $100,000 on a new server, and we'll see where we're at 5 or 6 years. So, yeah, very few buy a new server. Y'all have any more questions? I've known Ginger, Elizabeth, about 20 years.
So Shannon, in your opinion, cloud,
Yes, sir.
Thank you all.
It's much needed for especially the JP offices. And, you know, moving offices out to the jail or anywhere else to get out of the courthouse for the remodeling.
okay,
There's several things like that. It's gonna get the physical server out of there.
okay.
There's the constant, changing the tapes on a daily basis. We're gonna have to find somebody else to do that soon, possibly, right? Currently, the treasurer's office does that.
So you think our speed is gonna get, it will stay the same or better?
Can I answer that next week?
It's sufficient today.
It's sufficient today. I'll see better speeds when we finish our network, upgrades in a week or two.
We don't know the answer to that question I'm asking. I don't know the answer to that question. So I'm asking you,
Yeah, we'll be better. We'll be good.
okay?
He's only requiring a 10 meg. We're good.
Okay. Any more suggestions or discussion? Or motion? Make a motion to move it to the cloud.
I second.
Motion been made, Mr. Palmer, and second, Mr. Benson, that we, take option number 1 with the net data program where we move all our net data center facilities to the cloud at the cost of $34,965. Any discussion? Kelly?
People would agree. I would remind the court that we supposedly have $9 million in internet upgrades for the North County. That should take care of the speed problem.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Here none passed. When on to item number 6, is discuss and appropriately approve the release of funds to complete a portion of item number 5 on our agenda, number 7963, dated July 18, 2022, to approve contractors Gulf Coast to complete 7,750 linear foot by 18 foot wide, 2 inches asphalt overlay on County Road 4123 at the cost of $227,623.01 to be paid out on precinct number 4 cash account. Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, this is one of the 4 roads that we went out for bid for about 2 months ago. I don't have an exact date. And this will finish out what most of the people refer to as Sand Pit Road, County Road 4123. EDA grant done most of, about half of that road. And we want to finish asphalting it from where EDA grant finished to Highway 87.
Okay. Your motion.
Got your money rounded out?
Yeah.
I make that motion.
Your second.
I second.
Mr. Thompson, I have a question for y'all. Do y'all have a copy of that contract in your office? Because we have not received one.
For the bids?
We have a copy of the bid, but that bid expired in August.
Okay.
So my question is, do y'all have a contract with them to proceed? Or is this something we're gonna have to take back out of the bids so that we can make sure it's done properly? I don't know, I'm asking that question.
I wasn't aware that it expired.
We okayed it anyway.
Huh?
We okayed them roads.
Yeah, we okayed them, and it was to the understanding, whenever the money came available, I got my grant refunds back that we would release the contract. And they well aware that the bid still stands, I can tell you that.
Okay, so we're not gonna be, they're charged anything extra, there's not gonna be an increase?
No.
Motion been made, Mr. Palmer, and second, Mr. Benson will approve the release of funds to complete the portion of, which is on item number 5 on our agenda, 63, on July 18th, to the contractor Gulf Coast to complete that work. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Here none passed. On the second, discuss and appropriately approve opening new account for Newton County under the same precinct 4 constable contraband. The signers will be Ginger and Christie, Sherry, Crystal, and the Martha and Kemp is also authorized.
Good morning. After talking with Constable Precinct, or Mr. Wonders, and talking to Court about this, he's been collecting, I hope I'm saying this right, seizure funds from where he gets, helping other counties. And this is strictly money that he can use for what he needs down there. When he come over and come to court, we first thought about just doing him a line item under general fund and all that, because he already has a line item for where he serves papers, the $150 or whatever for serving papers. But this is gonna be different from that. This is like contraband money. And if we put it in general fund, it rolls over every time, but this is specifically for his, kind of like dedicated funds for the commissioners. So the sheriff has a contraband account and the DA has a contraband account. So I want it just to be specifically for Constable Precinct 4. And he's gonna have a contraband account because he's getting one check that he's sending to me today, and then he's gonna be getting another one in a couple of weeks, he said. So I just need to open this so we can keep this money separate from our general funds.
Why don't we authorize all constables to have the contraband fund?
Because I don't know if they're doing what he does.
What if they
If
start?
we do, we can open up them an account.
So this is specifically
This is,
for Mr. Wonder.
yes.
it. Now, say he gets, resigns. So the next constable would take that over?
If that constable, it's just gonna have a Constable Precinct 4. It's not gonna have his name or anything on it. Because that way you don't have to go back every time and change it. If that Constable Precinct 4, if he gets, somebody else runs against him and they get it, it would be if he does this same thing. Not all of them do what Wonders is doing. This is the first, I've be here 20 years in June of having to do this. So. And if somebody else started doing it, but I guess he's down there because he can help out Orange and all the other, those surrounding counties. And I guess if our constables helped the ones on this end, they could do this too, if they helped them with cases.
Because what he's doing to other counties, why he's getting this fund.
Yeah, he
His
helped, I
actual,
think he helped Orange, I'm not sure, I think it was Orange County that he helped
It is.
with this and solve this case.
okay.
So they collected a bunch of money and then it splits out, because that's the way the sheriff, if I'm right, does with the DA. If they work a case, they divide it with the DA and the sheriff, and then if the city's in on it, they get a certain portion to the city. And they each have separate accounts for their contraband account.
Is there some kind of document with the rules or guidelines and that kind of thing? I mean, as far as everything that every transaction has to go through all is the name, ones that are named on.
Yeah, like, I'm just gonna thought, if he gets $2,000, I don't know what the amount is that he gets. But if he gets $2,000, Sherry's gonna fix up a line under this. Oh, I don't even know what the number is gonna be yet. She'll fix a line to where if he spends out and buys, I don't know, paper for his office, I don't know what he can use it for, but he'll requisition it through here.
Sheriff has it.
Yeah, each year, beginning of the year, you have to file a report with the AG's office on all the money you receive and you spend. Those automatically practice.
Okay.
Elizabeth, do you have the original for them to sign?
I make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Benson, second by Mr. White, that we approve the opening of a new account for Newton County under the name of Precinct 4 Constable Contraband. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Hearing none, passed. Number 8, discuss and appropriate approve expenditure for ARPA funds for purchase of new camera surveillance equipment not to exceed $15,000. Kirby?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, General Public. This is a request for a surveillance system that we have a MHC Datacom Incorporated out of Orange come and look at our surveillance system cameras in the jail. As you know that system is currently in there. It's 20th century stuff. A lot of antiquated equipment in there. Some of the cameras has since gone out, about 4 of them. And this report that you should have a printout on what they're doing. They're gonna install a new board set 32 channel NVR at the sheriff's office. This was come with 8 channel analog encoders with 16 core network switches. To be at 8 terabytes, I think that's what it says, and a hard drive, and it'll have 5 other cameras that are not working now will be backup. We're looking at getting 2 TVs, big screen TVs, with 32 views, 32 different shots constantly, with real time. So, and it always also have a area to spin out hallway in the jail. So this is going to bring us up to speed and having a full look around in the facility. Also, we looked at those cameras you have out in the lobby downstairs, which stuff is still there. It's not included in this, but this in the future, once we get everything squared away in the construction, it'll hook those up. So I'm asking for those funds to get that going, and the work will be done. It will not interrupt any operations during the day. Okay, that's what I'm asking. Have any questions?
Could it be moved if you get a new jail?
We asked that question.
So I'm looking.
Yeah, go ahead and move, man.
Yeah, we're gonna see it. Come on.
So, yeah.
I'm back there.
That's it.
Will ARPA funds pay for that?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I sit into the auditor's office. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I want to leave that up to me, because I have a whole lot of.
I hear that.
I need. Yeah, I send it through the auditor's office.
Motion been made, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you. You make the motion.
Yes.
Mr. Fonda and Mr. Benson will approve the expenditures of the ARPA money funds from purchase of the new camera surveillance equipment, not to exceed $15,000. Any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Same sign opposed. Here none passed. Number 9, consider an appropriate approved expenditure of ARPA fund not to exceed $2,000 for payment to the Newton County tax office employee for 100 hours comp time of paid local global outbreak in the tax office. Listen.
Yes, sir. Good morning, court. Thank you, Judge. Okay, just about everyone in here knows that the tax office has been hit hard. We've had 3 separate COVID outbreaks. Sherry finally, she had her shots. She finally caught COVID, but it was just a few months ago. But if you look at the first column, I gave y'all overtime. On the legal sheet, I gave you her total hours of overtime in 2021, 2022. And that first column, when you figure it regular time, when you add that up, it's 66.75. Then it's comp hours, so it's times 1.5, time and a half. It would equal 1.125. I didn't put that on y'all's sheet. Now this other it's what she came in the morning. She told me later about it, and that's something that she and I are working out because she did not put that on her timesheet, but she made me aware of it. If you'll look at your sheet where it, I'm given sheets, from the treasurer's office about accrued time. If you'll look at May 1, 2020, the, employee, speaking of had 39.66. If you look at September 30, at the other sheet is 200. I did have her take a vacation. I mean, I did have her take a comp 40 hours off. And of course, that would be the time that, several would get sick, but she did, take 40 hours of that off. But the question, was brought to me. If this is for, this is COVID funds, can we get paid? Can I get paid? So with her having over 200 hours of comp time, almost 3/4 of her comp time is a direct result of multiple COVID outbreaks in the tax office. I'm requesting Commissioner's Court to authorize 100 hours of her comp time to be paid out of ARPA funds. Thank you for your consideration. Is there any questions? Are there any questions? I'm not mentioning her name because of laws that govern that.
So she's the only one that built up this comp time?
She is not the only one, but she's the only one that built that much. Yolanda Byerly had, and she left, and her comp time was paid out in her payout. It's supposed to say something here. Ouch. Okay. Another employee, there were a couple left that their comp time had to be paid out.
So how much comp time she got all together? I don't have that.
She has over 200 hours that's on the books, and just a little over 200. Well, at your office as of September 30th, it's 200 hours.
And we don't supposed to exceed 240, right?
Right, but she actually has more than that because she has 47.50 that she kept it's written down in the office. She came in early every morning, processed web payments, took care of, some mornings she said she, came in 45 minutes early. And I know she did because we talked on the phone when I was on oxygen. And it was at 7:15 in the morning. She was there processing web payments and taking care of the day before, the previous day's work, getting the titles ready. There's just so many things to do in a tax office that unless you just come and work and sit, and I'm sure that's in every office.
So on the extra that you said that y'all are keeping up with, you're making sure she's.
There's not gonna be any more of that. It has to go on the timesheet, but I'm taking care of that. We're taking care of that.
So did you authorize her not to put it on time sheet or she?
No, I did not. I did not authorize her not to.
But she worked the time.
Yes, I believe her. I know I've talked to her before early in the morning, and I didn't realize she hadn't put it on the timesheet. But no, I did not authorize her not to. But I do believe her. I wouldn't have anybody in my office that I didn't believe. You know what I'm saying? I totally believe her.
And because.
But I'm not asking the court to pay for that. I'm asking the court to pay for what was on the timesheet that was directly related to COVID.
My question is, but because the election and taxes, she cannot take the time off.
That's right. There is no time. It was, I mean, elections, I mean, there's just no time to take time off. What I have a little, I'm gonna start getting her to come in an hour late, trying to get rid of some of this time, you know. Just an hour behind everyone else. To try to get some of this in the second column, but there's just not time.
Okay, got any more questions, Ms. Birch?
Make a motion, we go ahead and square that up, that we get all your whole organization back in line.
Thank you.
And we did, according to previous court date, reiterate the fact that if it's not on the time card going forward, it will not be paid.
Right.
Okay.
That's only for 100 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
I second.
Motion made Mr. White and second Mr. Benson to approve the expenditures of ARPA funds not to exceed $2,000 to the tax office for the employee for 100 hours of comp time accrued during the COVID outbreak. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Hearing none passed. Number 10, discuss and appropriately accept donation of property from Renee Walmart to Newton County. The property is situated in River Oaks, number 2, block 4, lot 17, property ID 23720. Taxes are currently paid up to the date of 2020. This lady is requested that we take that property as donation.
Judge, I had just seen that and I wanted to ask, has she provided proof that she owns it? Because it's not in her name. It's in care of her, but it's not in her name. So I think she's an heir. She must be an heir. But I just wanted the court to know that I wasn't aware of this. And I looked it up during court just to make sure it was in her name and see if there was anything. And it's not in her name. It's in care of her.
I haven't done any investigation except that she requested to come before the court for a donation, even if it's a portion of or part of.
Right. But I just wanted y'all to know.
That will reflect that when they start doing the deed.
Okay, undivided interest, right. I just wanted the court to know and for, transparency. In case y'all didn't know that she does not.
Where's that at?
This is
4154, blacktop to here.
part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's on the back side. It's not no other camps is in that area right now. The county owns several of those lots in there. It may sell. I mean, it is.
Well, we could only sell her undivided interest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the county accepts
It
it.
may be all of it. But this is, it's under Raymond Spencer Estate in care of.
But it's not in the flood zone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Way or flood zone?
Huh?
Floodway or flood zone?
Floodway.
Oh.
I've talked to this lady in the past. Several years, her deal is she just wants to quit paying taxes. And nobody else, she said nobody else would help her pay the taxes. But I do believe there are other heirs.
Taxes can't be that high.
They're not. It's just she said it's a thorn in her side. She's a very wealthy lady. It's just a thorn in her side. So anyway, that's,
Okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
I just wanted y'all to know.
Hearing no motion, the Pale will like a motion. Number 11 and number 12 is to extend the Hurricane Laura disaster and the COVID-19 to November 14th, 2022. And I'm lumping those together if y'all want to resolve one of them, just say or we can lump them both together.
Make that motion. And
Here a second.
A second.
Motion been made, Mr. White, and second, Mr. Thompson, that we extend the Hurricane Laura disaster declaration and the COVID-19 declaration to November 14th, 2022. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign opposed. Here none passed. Motion to adjourn.
Take that motion.
Motion been made, Mr. Benson, second, Mr. White, to adjourn. 11:32.
I just sent that to you so you would know the name of the organization and the lady that's over it.
So that's the lady that's over it?
She's Leilani, and that is myself, Hope, and Community Outreach.
With the food bank in Beaumont? The Lord?
Yes. Yeah, they've, and like private donations, fundraisers.
That's why we did.
Backpack, they have a backpack program. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not going on right now because there's so